What's up, guys? Welcome back to Big Yogi'z Garage. Today I got Valdy Perez. What's up, man?
It's good to see you, buddy. Good to be on.
Thank you, man. It's been a while. I've been wanting to have you on. You're the one that inspired me to have a podcast. You know, I already was doing a podcast. I was thinking about doing it, but I always thought that I had to have everything ready, right? But one day I listened to your podcast with a guy in a 409, and you were saying about you don't have to. The moment you said, I'm doing this on my phone. Yeah. That's the moment where it all clicked. Like, I can start this on my phone. I actually went that day, sat on my couch in my living room, put my tripod, and I did my first episode on my phone.
Love it, man. Like, the point of these podcasts is to get our voices out and reach some people and change some people's lives if possible, inform them, help, whatever it may be. So, like, I'm glad that reached you and it's led to some big things. So I'm very happy about it, man. And it lets people know you don't need all this stuff. You can acquire the stuff later, but to start out, you don't need any of it, man. Everybody has a cell phone nowadays, and the cameras on those are better than most of the stuff we had back in the day. So, like, to record your videos, your audio, all that, you can get started with just your phone.
Actually, the cameras are so good now that the quality of our phone cameras are just like a nice $4,000 camera.
It's comparable for different situations. That $4,000 camera is still something else.
Of course.
But the phone cameras are up there 100% for the quality. Like, and by the way, the quality doesn't affect the content that's in there. So like, regardless of shoot the video, whatever resolution you got, it's getting it done. It's not how high the quality it is.
Okay, so your podcast, you inspired me to do a podcast, but at that time, right? I always seen the podcast, but what happened to your podcast? Can you tell me a little bit of exactly, like, because I know that, man, it was great. It was inspiring.
Thank you, man.
You guys were like, I always thought, like, man, I want to be on Mud Talks. That's what because when you first did it, dude, I used to engage. I would like all of them. I used to watch every episode, and I always my dream was like, I can't wait till one day I'm going to be able to get on Mud Talks. Tell me a little bit about what happened.
So, you know what? I mean, even you bringing that up, Mud Talks is something that I need to bring back. And the blunt, honest truth is scheduling, editing. It's a lot of work that goes into a podcast. You know what all goes into it. So for those of you who might not know too much about what goes into it, there's just scheduling, preparing for any of your episodes, the editing, the audio, the video, the promoting, getting it out there. And when something breaks in the schedule, let's say somebody can't make it, it kind of ruins the flow, and then you got to restart with. And so it just became a lot. There's really no other reason. Like, I really do need to bring it back. It's just at some points it got to me where I was just like, and people would cancel, and I was like, and that shouldn't be a reason to have stopped the podcast. Weirdly enough, I've found myself in this conversation over the last week about 3 times with people saying that I need to bring back the podcast. And I think the universe is talking to me at this point. So it's definitely something that I'm looking into. And now that I see some of the resources that you have to take some of the weight off, I might be able to utilize some of that as well, just to kind of not get as stressed out about it and not have to put as much time into some back end stuff when I can do it all on the front end.
Because I was having a little bit of those struggles in the beginning. But Brandon messaged me. Brandon, my graphic designer, I've actually changed his name. He's my engineer now.
Okay.
Brandon, my engineer, because he takes care of everything. So it's just not graphic design. He actually takes care of the sound, the YouTube channel. He puts everything on there. He makes the description.
That's crucial. That helps out big time.
When he messaged me, and then little by little, I just put more on him, and now he basically takes care of the whole channel, and that lets me go on with my, because like I noticed that you went into like a shift. You worked at Buckeye, and then you went into realty. And that's kind of where it got a little bit overwhelming, right?
Actually, at some point at both of them, they had something there, but they both ended up in the same thing of just being a little bit overwhelming for me.
Tell me a little bit about how you became a realtor and all that. What was that journey like?
So
You worked at Buckeye Cable System.
I worked at Buckeye
right
before that. I did tool and die. I worked in a factory for about 8 years.
Okay.
I worked at Team Systems and I worked at Norplast.
Oh yeah.
And I had left some other jobs for that because of the money. It's better money in the factories. I was like, oh, this is great. And then while I was in the factories, I did a apprenticeship for tool and die. I did that my last 4 years there, and it just reached a point where I was unhappy, and I decided to leave. So I left there, and I started working at Buckeye. I started pursuing something that I liked or enjoyed more, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. So Buckeye was way less money, but I was happy there. Buckeye was a good company to work for. And while I was there, I started doing some real estate investing on the side. We did a flip, me and some friends, and I was like, well, if I get my license, I can know about it a little bit more, be in the know, and we can get some more things going. And as I started to get my license, man, I loved it. Like it was, it didn't even sound like a job to me. I was like, oh, I get to hang out, help people, and like guide them through this process, educate myself, and then help educate them to move them forward. And this sounds like fun. So so I got my license, and I kind of took a shift there. Once I had my first deal under contract and I realized what the process was, I double checked with, I had joined the Degnan group. So they're kind of guiding me along, letting me know what's going on. I'm like, hey man, so what comes next? And they're like, you did all the things. I was like, this is how you do real estate? I was like, this is a dream job for me. I went right back to Buckeye, I put in my 2 weeks notice, and I started doing real estate full time, like right away. So,
and you've been doing really good. I see every once in a while you're selling houses and stuff.
Yeah. I've been doing it about 2.5 years now. And again, it's just fun for me. So like, it's great. It's a serious business. It's I believe over 90% of Americans, this is the biggest purchase you'll ever make in a lifetime. So it's a big investment. It's a big deal. It can be scary. There's a lot that goes with it. So while I say it's fun and I'm looking at it all, it's also something serious, but, I like to take the weight off with education. So if you know what you're doing, you're not as scared to make the decision. It can go this way or that way, and it takes a lot of the fears out. So for me, it's fun to educate, let people know the options, and let them make their own decisions, but at least provide the options and the value and the information there.
So when you started this, you educated yourself really good and about the real estate and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking at it more from like a real estate investment kind of side. So I was running a lot of numbers, and I watched Bigger Pockets like crazy. That's one of my favorite podcasts when it comes to any kind of real estate investing, and just informing myself, and I got a genuine joy out of it. I'm looking at investing myself, so this is fun. And then when I got to the real estate part of it, it's more learning about what's going on here local, different kind of loans, the direct process with it. But I already had the base of when we're looking at houses, running numbers and doing those things. So I had a lot of it down already by the time I got my license.
And then you ended up buying your first house during that journey too, or something like that?
I did. So I actually just closed on my house last month. And so one of the first things that I learned after I got my license, and sometimes you learn best by hitting your own head, right? I told you I loved it, and during that first deal, I said, I went to Buckeye, I gave them a 2 weeks notice. I let them know, I said, hey, it's nothing to do with this company. It's literally, I found something for me that I just know, and to this day I know is like the rest of my life. This is where my life is. And so I left. So I learned that if you are not working a job, that a W-2, if you're employed, if you're self-employed, you need 2 years tax returns in order to purchase a house. If you're employed, it works a little bit differently. But since I left my job where I was a W-2 employee and I turned to 1099, I couldn't get approved for a loan because I left that job. So I learned that like right away. I had, credit money, but I didn't know that. So that's one of those things that stuck with me. And now actually with clients, it's helped me out a lot, because one of the conversations we have up front is, how are you pursuing this? And now I'm a little bit more knowledgeable. And hey, if you're 1099 self-employed, we're going to want 2 years. What other options do we have? Are you still working? What's going on? And I can prevent other people from, committing that same mistake I did. So as soon as I got my 2 years tax returns, I started shopping and just bought a house last month. I closed on it. That's awesome. A house hacking move there, by the way. So I've got a little multifamily. The other side of it's rented out, and they're paying over half my mortgage right now. So so
that's like a little life hack.
Yeah, it's called house hacking.
House hacking.
Yeah, if you could do it in a way, so if you could get a fourplex, or if you're in an area where like it will cover the full cost. Some people live completely for free like that. They'll cover all of the mortgage. Me, long term, I plan on fixing it up, doing some deals with that. So I will be moving out of the part that I'm in, and I'll have both sides rented out, and so that'll pay itself off long term. Yeah.
So then you'll just buy another house and
continue the process.
Start the process all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. You can live in those houses as long as they're livable. Fix them up as you go.
100%.
Make them real nice, and then sell them for like whatever amount of money.
And I really don't want to sell. I really do want to hold. I believe we're at a time where houses are just going to keep going up.
Okay.
Inventory is low. There's a lot going on there. So in my position and everything I look at, I'm like, I'd really like to purchase some more houses.
Yeah, because right now I listen to a lot of like podcasts about that kind of stuff, and they said it's a renter's market. I mean, I don't even know too much about it, but they said that people are renting more than they're buying because I don't know, you might know more than this. They said that it's like you said, it's a big purchase, and the interest rates are so high, so people might want to just rent more often than not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. And I have this conversation quite often, and it's one of those. There's just so much that goes into it, but the rental market is hot because the housing market's really hot. It's it's very competitive to get some of these homes, and we have our yearly annual trends. I'll say that it kind of dies off after school starts up as more festive season. We got Halloween, we got Thanksgiving, Christmas, we got New Year's. Everything tends to slow down during this time, and then it picks back up. The beginning of the year, people have their New Year's resolutions, and they start back up on it. Yeah. But during that time where it's competitive, people aren't purchasing the house, so they're looking for somewhere else to rent. They're signing leases, so they're there for another year, and it kind of continues. And I mean, rates are high, but interest rates, let's say whatever number they're at, rent is 100% interest. Like, you're not getting any of that back. You're not investing in yourself. So I'm still, anybody who's renting and looking at buying, and if interest rates are a factor, you're looking at it the wrong way, because the faster you get in there, the faster you start building wealth. The faster you're going to take on some of that appreciation that comes with the house, paying down that principal. There's a lot that goes into it, but you're winning. And if you're renting, you're not gaining any of that. You get nothing back out of that.
100%. Yeah. It's all interest, because you at the end of the day, you move out with nothing. With nothing.
So I don't care if interest rates are at 10, 12, which are somewhere, I don't even want to say numbers, but wherever they're at, it doesn't matter, because there's a saying, marry the house, date the rate. And the reason being is, find your house, get in there, and then when the rates drop, you can refinance, and you're going to pay you can still win, but you've already got some equity in the house because you've been paying on it. So there's moves long term. I have that conversation quite often, but the news and everything tends to scare people. And again, I attack it with education. Let's talk about it. Let's talk numbers.
My goal for myself, I think, I don't know. We've been thinking about getting, since we're downtown, we want to have we want to get like a condo. Not right now, but like after Bella graduates, we want to move downtown, have buy a little condo downtown, and like have downtown as our hub.
I didn't realize how much I love downtown living. But there's everything down here. Having a little condo down here, and you can ride down to, we have plenty of restaurants, the events, we got the Mud Hens, we got the Walleye. There's a lot to do, and it gives you that big city feel. So I love the downtown feel.
Even though it's a little city,
but it's still growing. Actually, they have meetings down here. They're talking about changing this area into a mixed use area, because a lot of it's commercial right now. And they want to expand it, and they want to make it more for people to come down. So they want to put some things in that'll allow it to facilitate the people a little bit easier instead of just the businesses.
Yeah. You know what? When you were saying all that, it reminds me of your podcast when you always used to bring that up, that
downtown
Mud Talks. You used to always bring on Mud Talks. You always used to bring up how the city's evolving and becoming different and all
it's
that.
still doing that. That's what I love. Like, it's still doing that. I can still talk about that. We still got new stuff coming in, and we have new plans came out for new developments, and I'm looking at it, and they're thinking long term, and I love it. So Mud Talks, I wouldn't talk about that. We didn't have the Mud Hens, we didn't have the Walleye Bag. There was none of that
when
stuff.
When you first came to Toledo,
there was none of it. So I came back up when I was 14.
Yeah, tell me about that. Like, where did you grew up in Florida?
I grew up in Florida. I grew up in Florida and here, both places. Yeah.
Because I know your dad. I know your dad really good, and I know your mom really good. But I didn't know you that good.
No, which is crazy. Yeah.
And then my uncle ended up becoming your stepdad. But you know what? I didn't even put it all together until that one day we had the. Remember when we had the meeting? One time we sat down and we were gonna do the Carol G event party, right?
Yep.
We sat down one day. We were planning on that, and you were telling me about how when you were talking about when you were growing up and all that. But you told me that my uncle was like your stepdad, and I was thinking like, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Like when he got out of jail, he ended up being with your mom, and that was your stepdad, and that
like
day,
my dad, man. Like that man raised me. Like that was my father. That was my 100% the life lessons I learned, and I was missing that. I didn't have that male role model, and he came in and he taught me a lot that I'm grateful to this day. That I'll never forget. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. And then that day after that meeting, I went out to my car. And I made a video, but I never posted it. But I made a video to myself, and I said that, I actually was like crying and everything, because the thing is, like, I was thinking like, maybe this is all a sign. Maybe like my uncle teaching you how to giving you guidance, and then you doing the podcast, and then me following suit and doing my podcast. And how the way my podcast is about trying to help people, health, fitness. I like to talk to people about mindset, because I think that a lot of us are lost in this world,
100%.
And I feel like it all wraps around, bro.
Everything affects everything, dude. So I'm right there with you. And if it wasn't for that, this wouldn't have happened, and this was crucial for this to have happened. And it's everything affects everything. That's why putting positive energy and trying to help people out that's a big deal for me. It makes me feel good, and I've seen some ripple effects of things. I'm sitting on this show based off one of those things, and it's amazing. So that's
it's like do they call it the butterfly effect?
Yep.
A butterfly flaps its wings here, and then a bunch of other stuff happens. There's a tornado
somewhere else.
Yeah, tornado somewhere
but
else.
I'm a everything affects everything. I'm 100% believer in that, and I keep that in mind at all times. Everything affects everything.
And that's the reason why I always wanted you to start your podcast back up, because I know that we have a voice in the city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we can get our voices out there. And it's not just about us. It's about the guests. Yeah. And the guest has a voice too.
Yep.
We can let other people talk.
100%. And we have that same mindset too. We just want to show other people what's in the city and what's going on. And there's a lot to offer here. Younger me was very negative about the city. But also we didn't have fun stuff to do. I didn't feel like, so I was like, and the older I get, the more I appreciate it. There's a lot of community love here, and I don't just mean downtown Toledo. I mean in Toledo, in the surrounding areas. There's a lot of community love, and if you're trying and putting effort into some things, people will support you, and you don't find that everywhere. You don't find that everywhere.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, so I'll tell me a little bit about where you're from, Florida.
Yeah,
I wanted to give a little background on how I really know you and stuff.
Yeah.
So I know we're connected in a certain way. We're both Cuban.
Yeah. We
both got family that are kind of know each other.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, because I don't know you past now. I just kind of met you the last couple years. So tell me a little bit about when you grew up and stuff.
Yeah. So young me lived in Florida, and we moved around a lot.
You were born in Florida?
I was born here.
You were born in Toledo.
Toledo. I was born at Riverside Hospital. Doesn't even exist anymore. It's not even there anymore.
Okay.
But that's where I was born. A lot of traveling between here and Florida. Yeah. We lived in Florida till I was about 9 years old. And then 9 years old, actually our house burned down, and so we were kind of getting back on our feet, and we moved around for a little while, and we ended up here in Toledo. A lot of little spaces in between there, but it was literally just I'll say more than anything survival and just and getting by. And so when we moved up here, I was probably actually like 13-ish when I moved up here, and this is like the first stable place that I've been at, making friends that I get to keep around, and kind of just started off here, man. Got a job when I was 15. One of my first jobs was at the Mud Hens, McDonald's. Those were my two little first jobs, and I've had a job ever since. Like, it's always continued.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Wade High School. It's the first school I ever attended for a whole, like, all 4 years. I went to Wade High School. Every other, I switched middle schools a lot. I switched elementaries a lot. So, like, Wade High School was the first time I had that.
Yeah.
Class of 05, baby. I love Wade High School.
Wade High School had a whole bunch of Latinos and kind of felt
it had everything. That's what I loved about it. It had everything. Everybody. Yeah, and I loved that. I was like, oh my goodness. I like being around that diversity. It's fun. It's intriguing. Everybody's different. Yeah. And I'm curious. Oh, okay, what's going on with it? And this is the first time I've been able to keep friends around, so I get to like ask questions and learn. And like, so it was a big growing up. Like, that was a big part of me coming, like, growing up a little bit. Yeah. So it was nice. Yeah.
Becoming the person you are today.
Yeah. It all affected.
Have you always been really good at speaking to people and it comes easy, or is this something that you've turned into?
No. I translated for my mom since I was a little kid, and I would get real nervous on the phone. And my mom was like, "Why are you getting nervous? You can't even see him. Like, and you're being polite and you're being respectful. So why are you being nervous?" And that always like kind of clicked with me. Is like, why was I being nervous? And so I just got used to that. And so interacting with a lot of people. Everyone speaks a little bit different. Some people are nice, some people are mean. You start to pick up kind of how people, the tone of their voice, and that all kind of like growing up, I was doing that repeatedly. And so it just got to a point where it's just normal to talk to anyone in any way, you know?
Yeah, no, because I seen people like, I don't know if they hire you or they've actually had you like speak at events and places like that, and like host events and stuff. I've seen a lot of that. You actually did like a comedy show and all that.
I did. That was crazy.
So that kind of stuff. It takes balls to do that.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not saying I don't get nervous. Like that comedy show. That's one of the most I went skydiving for the first time this year.
Oh, you did?
The stand-up comedy I did for the first time this year too. Yeah. Way more nervous, way more everything than skydiving.
For real?
Standing in front and trying to make people laugh is different. In conversation, it's for me, it's natural. You know, we all joke around and say our things, but it's like I gotta stand up there for like 5 to 10 minutes and say things, and I gotta try to make people laugh. That was nerve-wracking. Other events, it's not so bad because it's just talking about whatever the topic is, or like it's just being confident going up there and what you're talking about. When you're confident about your knowledge and what you're presenting and what you're trying to say, and it's authentic, I stopped worrying about messing up. That's one thing that like I used to worry about. What if I say the wrong word, or what if I stutter? It's gonna happen regardless. So like I stopped worrying about that, and once you stop worrying about it, it actually happens less because you're not nervous. It's kind of one of those when you think about something, you manifest it.
You make yourself doing it by thinking it so much.
Simon Sinek gave this example for skiers when they're going down. In order to avoid the trees, a lot of people are like, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees, don't hit the trees. And what happens, they hit the tree because they're thinking about the tree. Instead, say to yourself, follow the path, follow the path, follow the path. And all you see is the path. So it's that mental, just that little mental shift can create a big change. So I stopped worrying. I was like, if I mess up, I mess up. Like, we're still, everybody's like, nobody's going to like heckle me, you know, but we tend to make those kind of things a big deal, but dropping that made it easier to engage in some of the I've hosted fashion shows. I've done that as well. I just enjoy it. I enjoy getting my voice out there and trying to get some positivity out there. You know?
I love everything that you do. Every single time I see that, I'm like, man, that's sweet. You know, because I'm trying to do sort of like that kind of, I don't want to be, I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to be the host of things, but I don't want to be like the rah guy, you know.
Yeah.
It would be nice for me to go to do a host, something like that, like a show and stuff like that. I'm always so busy anyways with the work and the podcast and all that.
It can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. It's finding time to do those things, man. And like whatever it is you like to do, I feel like somehow the universe attracts you to it if you're open to it. You know what I mean?
Of course. Like last night we judged a Halloween costume.
Yeah, Halloween costume party. Like great scenario. And we get to go out there, engage with people, and people have some awesome costumes. Like we get to hang out, be a part of that, kind of make it a thing, and announce winners. Like it's fun.
That was pretty cool. Because the thing is, like I want to grow my podcast, and I want to, and then I know that you would like to sell more houses, and we would like to grow our businesses and stuff. So by us going out and helping people spread the word for their events, then we can actually go to the event, get to know some of these people, and maybe they'll come see the podcast, or they'll come see the podcast. Maybe one day they'll be like, hey, someone asked them who sells houses, they'll give your name.
It's a win-win-win, and that's something that I try in my business as well. Like the longer life goes on and the more I learn is it doesn't have to be somebody losing in order for somebody else to win. Everybody can win, and when you make those kind of moves, it's just beautiful. So we get to host things, do fun stuff. In turn, it creates noise about us. People want to know who we are, what we do, investigate, whether it's a podcast, whether it's houses, whatever it is. And it just manifests into better things. Yeah,
okay, so like at one point your podcast, it turned into, you started interviewing realtors and stuff like that, right? So I was thinking like that was pretty cool. There was a lot of knowledge in those, because you were telling people a lot of like, even your Mud Talks, it was still like the same. It was still Mud Talks, but you did
Mud Talks Real Estate. I put it in different playlists.
That was pretty cool.
I need to get back into it. Like and you guys are inspiring me again to get back into it, because there is some good info in there. And I had so much fun I talked to lenders, I talked to inspectors, I talked to real estate agents, investors, a little bit of everything when it came to the real estate side, title companies. How can I forget? Oh my goodness. I had some good times, and it gets information out there for people who don't know a lot of this stuff. And again, it can be overwhelming now that I know a little bit about this, and we all learn, you know what I mean? Like maybe it'll be a little bit more stress-free for me, because I was never too concerned as far as like trying to grow the channel exponentially. I was concerned with getting information out to people. One of the reasons that I felt okay stopping the podcast is because I saw you doing your podcast, man. And I was just so happy. I was like, because we got this now. And like, that's my main point, was for somebody to be doing something to show the people what we have around here. And I kind of felt like I was okay because you were doing that. So I was like, great. But there's different worlds that I step into. So like the real estate being one of those. So there's definitely, I need to get back into it. And the universe is telling me this.
Because the thing is, like, I never did this for anyone to stop theirs, I did this because you inspired me. Like, I took a little bit of what you were doing, but I wanted to do with a little twist of health, fitness, trying to
everything.
Because you were doing business owners. Because I don't know exactly what your main agenda was, but I know that you were like promoting people's businesses. And then I was thinking like I could do something like that, but I never ever wanted anyone to stop theirs. Because I was thinking like,
don't feel like that. Don't feel like I stopped mine because you started. No, I don't want you to think that.
No, I know.
It just it allowed me to not worry as much. Because like the importance is that the people get the information, and now I felt like the people could still get the information. So it wasn't anything like that. It was just like I was dealing with the stress, dealing with the things, and then when you started doing yours, I was like, oh, like yes, okay, and I can relax a little bit. So that's all it was. I don't want you to think yours made me stop. Not at all, but like I was just okay. Like
you were okay.
The people got the info.
And we actually had this conversation before. You actually told me about this a long time ago. We sat down one day and you said that you felt okay with stepping back because I had, but still, like I always wanted you to keep going.
That's what you told me last time too. I got you.
I was like, damn. I was like, no, hell
after the universe telling me this many times within this amount of time, I'm definitely gonna make some moves and get some things going.
I used to, because I think that you know how everybody wants to sell you a course, right? Like a realtor guy. I want to sell you a course, $1,000, and I'll show you how to sell houses. But don't you feel like that divides the poor from the rich? Like the people that can't afford the $1,000 course? Maybe if we just put some of the information out for free.
100%. So I'm frugal. Anyways, let me just say that. I do bigger packets. I do all the free stuff on there, and I check out all the free content that they give. And I'm a big believer in giving out free info. We have access and resources. Okay. When we were kids, we didn't have the internet like what we have now. We didn't have access to all this information that we have now. Somebody could have lied to me. I didn't know they were lying to me because I couldn't Google it back in the day. Now, on my phone, I'll call you. I'll be like, you said what? Okay, let me pull this up right now and I can Google this stuff in front of people. So we have access to the information. Some people just don't know where to look. And so making it easier, we were putting I was putting information, I should say, out there and for free. I do believe people should just know, anybody who's curious enough to take the time and click and sit through and watch and listen to your video, why wouldn't you give them that content for free?
Yeah, you can always have a course on the side too for like people that maybe a more in-depth course.
I never do any of those courses, so I don't know, man. I always feel like, oh, it's a trap. I don't know why, so I'm always like, I ain't doing it. I'll look elsewhere for a free one. Like I never do any of those kind of things. Me
neither. I just feel like that. I mean, it's okay. Everybody can have their own thing, but I just feel like putting the information out there for, like, let's say a 12-year-old kid looks at, and he can get some information without having to pay.
I'm gonna go back to when I graduated high school.
Me about that.
And say where my mindset was completely different than what it is now. Probably I'll say up into my early 20s, like my mindset was on very different things, and I didn't have access to information to know better. And so one of the big things that I have now, especially with younger kids, if there's nothing to do, there's nowhere to go around here. There's a lot to do around here. There's plenty of places to go. And Toledo's so central that within an hour radius, we have plenty of opportunities. If you want to even get outside of, we're 10 minutes from Michigan. If you want to go to Michigan, a 2-hour drive will get us into some major cities. There's a lot for us to do, and even within the city, for kids who can't drive, can't do all those things, we have so many programs available for kids. We have so many events available that kids can go to. There's a lot, and getting them that information, right, so that they know that there's more options out there. Just looking at me at a younger time, I feel like if I'd have had a little bit more information, I might have got to where I'm at a little bit faster. I'm grateful that I'm at where I'm at now, but any way that I can help so that people can avoid certain pitfalls, I think it's crucial. I think it's crucial to put that out there, because that's how society helps each other. Like, oh, I made these mistakes. Hey man, watch out, there's these mistakes coming up. And hopefully they can avoid it. And they'll have their own mistakes, because we always will, and they can say, but we keep building, and everybody wins off of that, man.
So that's exactly how I'm going. Okay, so ever since I started my podcast, that day that you said, just start with your phone, whatever, I was like, I can just start with my phone and I can build it as I go, and I can teach people as I go, because I've been through a lot of stuff. Like, look, I came from Cuba when I was 6 months old. We didn't have shit. My family all went to prison. All the men in my family went to prison. All my aunts were single, like all my cousins, everybody. You know what I mean? And then there was a struggle. I had to get my first job when I was 16 to help my mom pay the rent. I figure all that out, right? I end up dropping out and I get in a job, and then I get married 3 times. This is my 3rd marriage I'm on, so I've been through a lot of relationship issues. I got kids. I know a little bit about parenting. I'm not the best father, but I know a little bit about parenting. Then I go to prison. I do all my prison. In prison, I become a leader in the prison system. I get out, and then I feel like no one, like I was like. When I went to prison, I learned all this stuff, like about leadership and how to speak to people and how to, like, I read a lot of self-help books, and I put myself in a mindset, when I get out, I'm going to be better, But when I got out, everybody still looked at me like the yogi before I went in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like I'm a leader now. Let's go start a business. Let's do a podcast. Let's do this. And everybody's like, chill out, bro.
Yeah.
So it was like, I had all these dreams and inspiration and all that. When I came out, I was like, I want to build, I want to do, I felt like I wasted my time in there. So like, I think that it's good for all of us to like teach. Yeah. Because I've been through all these experiences, right?
Yeah.
Why not tell some people, look, I made these mistakes in my first marriage. That's why it all messed up. I made these mistakes and that's why I went to prison. Like, I feel like it's good for us to teach. But not everyone thinks that. Some people, I've had people tell me, why do you think that you can teach somebody when even like, you know, their dad can't teach them or God can't teach them or whatever.
And I thought, man, I'm in a big mental fight right now with whoever would say something like that. But there's people in the world like that. And one of the things that I've noticed and that I do is, that I try to do, because we won't always win at this, is not focus on those negative comments. Because again, I can't tell you, there's a handful of people in this world that have directly come up to me and said that I've changed their lives in a way that is there forever. Like, there is no going back. Like, I created a change. I helped educate them on something. I gave them access to something, different scenarios. That's the biggest thing. Bro. That's the bro. That's my return on investment, dude. Like that. Like, for me to see this again, like that's where I win. This is where this is what I soak in. Like this is leaving things in life that are changing other people's lives. Yeah. You're doing the same thing with this. So like, whoever would say, who do you think you are? You know how many episodes did I have before I had that episode with Guy in the 419 where I said that about the equipment? But if it didn't happen on that episode and right then, it was just that moment for you to hear it. And some people, you don't know when their moment is. So all you do is put the stuff out there and they'll hear it at that moment that they need to. And it creates change. Because I know I watch seminars online, I watch podcasts, everything online. And sometimes I repeat watch stuff. And for some reason, a line will just stick out to me. I'm like, and it'll make sense because that's my moment to hear it. So our job is just to put the stuff out there. I don't know if it's going to change somebody's life, but if it does, great. If it doesn't, I don't care. I love that I spent the time trying to do that. And what you'll find is most of the times it does have an impact. The people and the naysayers that say anything different, there's some people that are going to have a negative outlook on a lot of things. And we can talk about any subject right now, and I can tell you the pros and the cons, because I always look at everything just from an outside perspective. But if you focus on the cons, again, if you don't hit the trees. If you focus on all those bad things, that's what's going to be around you and in your environment. That's what's going to be your mindset. And you're leaning towards why listen to the beginning of it. Why would you do this? Do you think you can do this? Like, get out of here. That's an unnecessary thinking. It doesn't do anything but slow down progress. Progress is being able to just be you, whatever it is you want to do. For us, I think we generally love to give and like to help. So us is putting stuff out there, because now we're in an era where people have their phones, they have access to these videos. They have access to the resources. Maybe we could be the resource, especially here locally. Like, if you want to know about what's going on here locally, hey man, we got you. This is what's going on. This is it. So if we took the time and like let that hit us too hard, which sometimes life hits us hard, we wouldn't be doing these things, which wouldn't create the changes, which wouldn't have an impact, which again, there's no positivity that comes with that. It's all a downhill thing.
Ever since I started this podcast, I've helped a lot of people out. There's a lot of people that send me messages that, Yogi, you helped me doing this. You helped me with the mindset. You helped me with the weight loss. You helped me with this. You helped me with that. But the thing that gets under my skin is like sometimes I want the closest people or the people that I love to get some of the inspiration, and those are the people that lash out to me and like, or even say something like, who do you think you are? And I'm like, bro, like, and it's like okay, but you can't help. It's like the closest people, they're the ones that they think you changed. And let me say, you did. I did. Like, I'm a advocate of change. Like, if you're not growing, you're dying type of deal. And so like, how can I evolve and be better? There's certain things that I notice that I do that are like
this doesn't make sense. You got to change. You got to adapt and keep going. So yeah, some people say you changed up, but again, it hurts worse when they're closer to you.
Yeah.
But they're gonna have their moment where they hear the thing when they need to hear the thing. But you can't let that affect you. And some, I know there's some people that I don't have in my life anymore because I couldn't be around certain things. And if you want to move forward, you can't be held back by certain things. So listen to your heart, and that's it. You can only control yourself. You can't control other people. So as much as you want them to say or feel or whatever, that's way outside. You shouldn't even stress out about that because it's outside of your control. It's like us releasing the content. Hey man, I hope this reaches 28 people. No, I'm putting it out there, and hopefully it does. Yeah, it's gonna run into the right people, right eyes, the right ears. Like that's it. Other than that, we can't force people. We have no control over other people's actions and what they do. So
and then like I know talking about putting it out there and stuff. I always talk about social media and the importance of this is like my real dream is this. People think social media is the wild west, right? People can say anything, but I'm like, why can't we put it into like a Toledo public school like curriculum and teach people how to do social media with ethics, with compassion, with love from when they're little. We teach them how to do it the right way. So when they get older, they put out stuff like this, like good things, and not all that, dancing. I mean, dancing is fine, but like,
you gotta have everything.
Maybe like, like some disrespectful thing or hate or bad things. Like we can use social media in a good way as long as we teach it the correct way. Okay, my question is, like, how important is social media to you, to your selling houses, to everything, and how important is it to you to be having a good message instead of like some kind of hatred or whatever?
So I'm gonna flip back on you and say, I think all of it's needed, even the negative stuff out there.
Okay.
And what you choose to consume is on you, but we're in America. We're free to do whatever it is that we want to do. Whether that's I just want to make an angry review about this video game. It sucked, and I think I paid too much for this, and the developers didn't put time into. So like, and there's that kind of negative, and then there's there's more intense negatives. And then there's the positive things. I can either way. I get to choose what direction I go into. But I'm gonna relate the social media thing. I'll get into that to guns, which is a very controversial topic, right? And we'll get into are guns good or are guns bad? They're neither. It's a fucking gun. Like, excuse my language. I'm gonna try not to curse so much, but it's a gun. And so it's how you use that gun that determines whether people perceive it as good or bad, the intent they use it at. And how do you kind of help with that? Well, educate. How do you use a firearm? What's firearm safety? Where do you keep it? Everything that goes in with the firearm safety. So if you teach kids about this, it's a safe weapon and they use it for their own safety and to keep other people safe. As a society, the more people with education and guns, that's a good thing. We can all protect ourselves. So the same way I say that with a controversial subject, I'm going to say that about social media. People say social media is good, social media is bad. I don't think social media is either one of those. But I think that kids should be educated in social media because it's the same thing with the gun. If you don't teach a kid about a gun and then you give them a gun, that's not a good outcome. Social media is going to be a lot of the same. If you don't teach kids and educate them what's really out there, they can fall into some bad rabbit holes, and they don't know what's good, they don't know what's bad, they don't know what's real, they don't know what's not, and that can lead to depression. That can lead to a lot of bad mental anxieties. It can lead to a lot of bad things. So I think educating them on what social media is, the platforms, what do you want to, express yourself? How do you want to express yourself? Okay, these are some different options that you have. Educating helps to promote the positive things that can be done on these social media platforms. And social media is going to be around for ever. So I want, there's a big emphasis on people who use it for their business, don't use it for their business. And there's no reason you shouldn't be using it for your business. More people see what you're doing on social media than even talking to you to catch up. I've had people hey, Valdy, how was your trip? How you know about my trip? Oh, social media. never told them directly. So I'm like, okay, so they're watching. Like, I see, okay. So I think it's crucial to have, to at least be on the platforms, at least be knowledgeable about them. Even myself, I don't post as much as I should. Like there's like a balance with it. But if your intent isn't to like become any kind of social media mogul or anything like that, I think you should still at least be educated in it. Look through it. It's a good way to connect with friends. Again, when we were kids, man, we had no connection. I had to talk on a landline, and I had to pull the cord around the corner so that I could have a private conversation. And now I have internet and phone and everything everywhere.
We have access to everybody.
At all times, man. So I think it keeps us connected. Social media has kept us connected in a way that's beautiful. Can it be used in bad ways, and can you go down bad rabbit holes? Absolutely. Like that option's there, but it's what content are you consuming? The algorithms tend to throw more negative things people's way than positive, because it has a better rate of retention and just of activity. So they purposely do that. But if you start looking up puppy videos and cat videos, I guarantee you have more puppy and cat videos coming up. You know what I mean? So it's, what are you consuming? If you see the bad stuff, go past it. You don't need to click on it. You don't need to watch it. And that kind of education helps, because some of that understanding, there's a lack of that understanding. And so when some people get on social media and they see all the bad stuff coming on, they're like, social media is bad. Well, let's reset your stuff. Let's clear this up. Let's look at some positive things. Let's see what else is out there.
Yeah, because it's an
and
algorithm.
It'll change. Absolutely, it'll change everything, because they want you. For me, it's anime. You know how much anime I have come up on my feed? Anime and comedy is just like top notch, like all the time. So
my thing is like inspirational, because I always listen to that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
Gary V's a big one, dude. Like he always popping up on my stuff. Gary V, I got into he has a what's it called, community number, and so like you can sign up, text, and he'll text out, and like those are legit texts from Gary V. Like he'll just text some stuff to the
like
group.
a group.
Yeah, and he said just the other day in the middle of a conversation with a friend, he said, do that thing that you've been avoiding. He's like, stop with the anxiety, and I know that you'll be able to pivot whenever that time comes, but just stop putting it off and do it. And it hit me in a moment where I was in the middle of telling my friend that like I wanted to make some phone calls, but I had anxiety of like what kind of response I would, and then he said that, I was like, what a timing on this. It's crazy.
Crazy.
So I think people should educate themselves. For me, social media is going to be around for a long time, maybe not forever. Things are going to evolve in a crazy way, but like for the foreseeable future, it's going to be on there, and it's viable options. I know people in some businesses, and we'll talk about like the real estate industry, who pull in more off of TikTok people that they had come than what their actual business model was before. And it didn't make any sense. They weren't prepared for that. So there's business opportunities out there if you want to look at it from the business perspective. Staying in contact with friends, catching up, saying hello, staying in contact with a lot of people. Sometimes you forget. Life is crazy, and you'll see somebody be like, oh, how have they been? And you get to engage with them. I think it's crucial to educate yourself in that way.
Yeah, sometimes you haven't seen somebody in a long time, and they're like, oh, it's our anniversary. And you're like, oh, wow, look, I haven't seen them. I worked with them at North Place. I worked at North Place too.
Oh, okay.
So we got that in common too. I worked at North Place for 10 years.
Okay.
How many years did you work there?
It was 6 there. I did 2 years at Team Systems. I make it sound like prison. I did 2 years, my 2 years time. But actually, like
it is like prison.
I think we need workers everywhere, right? I think those kind of jobs are great, especially for people who have a plan. But I don't think, and it depends, because if the hours and everything aligns, I think you should stay there. Like people should just do what they love. That's a big. I'm not an advocate for the people who say they're unhappy and stay there. Because it's not really the company's fault. Even if the company's doing 28 things wrong, like. I'm not saying they're good or bad. I don't know what's going on. I'm saying if you're looking at it and unhappy, why are you there?
Why are you there?
Go make a change. Go somewhere where you're happy. Money isn't everything. I've taken jobs where I made way less money and I'm way happier, and like life just is a breeze. And I've been in some places where I made some good money and I'm stressed out and I'm sad and I don't understand why. So I think I'm glad that on your podcast you talk about mental health and your diet, because those are important. Like I can't even emphasize how crucial those are to a good style of living, because if you're not eating right, you're not feeling right, you're not making the right decisions, it's a bad pattern to go down. Once you start eating a little bit healthier, because at first it sucks, you're like, but then you're like, but man, do I feel good. And then that trickles into something else, and it starts you on these trends. Even mentally, you're just in a better spot. I'm not a big salad guy, but I find if I eat a salad for lunch as opposed to eating any kind of other junk food, I'm just in a better spirit. Like I'm just ready to go. I have this energy. I don't even know why. Like I'm ready. And that's a small shift. I'm just getting a salad instead of getting something else. Like.
So do you still working out and stuff like that? Okay. I seen you working out, and but I don't know if you still do.
Yeah, no. So I haven't worked out in the last month.
Okay. But you know the benefits of everything.
100%. No, I literally was just having a conversation with my trainer, getting a game plan together to start for next month, the month of November. But yeah, no, and I stopped it just because my trainer was out of town for a little while, and then I had some things going on in my life, and it was just a timing thing, and I was like, let's get back at it later. But I do know the importance of it. I mean, even the confidence in how you feel getting dressed and putting on pants, putting on a shirt and looking like, oh God, like it's a big confidence thing. It just helps out those endorphins you get when you're working out, because working out, and I like to work out early morning and get it out of the way, but that pumped me up for the day. I felt good. I'm like, okay, I'm ready for it. Like it was a big drive in going forward. And then once you start getting that, and then you add in the diet, like, and you get all that combination going, it just mentally it puts you in a way better place. I always work out in the morning because I feel that life can get in your way, and I don't, because if let's say I go work and I think I'm gonna go work out after work, but then my wife calls me like, hey, go pick up this for dinner, and then I can't really do so. And that'll happen quite often. So like I'm the same way. I like to do the things I don't like to do in the morning, because I don't even like to wake up early. But I wake up early to work out, and like, okay, I got two things. I started my day, and that way I'm not losing time, right? Because I'm doing it early morning. Like some people are still sleeping, you know what I mean? Like they're doing nothing, and I've already got this whole workout in. I'm ready for my day. I'm ready to go.
Let's take a little break real quick, and then I'm gonna use the bathroom, and then we'll go back. We'll get back, and then we'll. I'm gonna ask you some questions I always ask everybody.
Okay.
And then we'll see where we're at from there.
Okay.
All right. We're back from break. I had to go use the bathroom and stuff. All right. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about planning and how you got exactly where you're at right now. And like the steps, because I know it takes a lot to get. It does.
It's a learning process, just like anything else. So we were talking earlier about starting up the podcast and realizing some technical issues and changing something, and it affects everything else, and then learning and that's life. But one of the things that I learned is like planning and goal setting, and that's something that wasn't really emphasized too much before. And just reading it, I don't know if you've ever read Think and Grow Rich, but it's a book that I highly, highly recommend.
I've actually read it. I think it's like Napoleon
Hill. So there's a lot of things are manifested, but a lot of things you need to plan for and make a list of what you want to achieve. Where do you want to be? Like, what is it that you want? What I see a lot of people, even myself included, a more, I guess, lost version of myself was just like, there's nothing to do in the city. There's nothing like this. But I don't even have like like, what do I want to do with my life? Like, where am I going? And so like, if you don't know what you want to be, what you want your life to be, you're kind of just going along whatever path is there. When you set a tone of what you want to be or what you want to do, and then you break that down and say, look, I want to have this kind of a house. Okay, well, this house costs how much? I want to make about this much. I want to do this. And you set the path of the things that you need to do to get there. I want to weigh X amount. I want my health to be great. Okay, how? I'm going to eat healthier. Okay, how? Like, I think writing down some things is very important, and looking at it and reminding yourself that you're working towards something. There's plenty for all of us to work out, whether we're talking on our physical side, on our spiritual side, on our businesses, our personal lives, whatever it may be. I think there's a lack of having a goal and creating a path to get there. Whether it's, I want to make sure that I talk to my mom once every day, once every week, once every month. I want to make X amount of money. Doing what? I want to buy this car. How? For me this year, my big one was I wanted to buy the house. So I made a plan on how I'm gonna buy the house. Some things are unplanned. When I first got into the getting licensed, it was for a different purpose. And then when I found out I wanted this to be my life, I sat down, I was like, how do I make this my business? It's not a business. It's not just me waking up like, hey, I'm gonna go try to sell a house today. That doesn't work. A lot of people have attempted that, and it doesn't work. They don't last very long in the business. This is a business where I'm looking at how much money am I putting into marketing, advertising, clients. How often am I making the phone calls? Am I doing everything on my side? And what did I spend at the end of the day? Everything. Keeping numbers, knowing exactly everything that went on during these transactions. Everything. It's more than just saying I want to do this thing. It's planning, setting goals, and sometimes you're not going to hit your goals, and it feels rough. And sometimes you can break those goals down. So like, okay, maybe I'm not here, but I got this and this in line to get this. If you wouldn't have done those things, you wouldn't be in line to get the thing. So celebrating little things, I found out was a big one for me, because I stopped celebrating little things at some point, and it felt very like I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't doing anything. When in reality, man, I was doing so much. Like I was checking a bunch of things off the list, but since I wasn't celebrating those little moments, I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. And so I remember I got to so sometimes I'll make a list just to check things off the list. Okay, did I do this today? I drove to the store, I bought the thing, I did this at home, I organized. Okay, cool. Sometimes I'll do something that wasn't on the list, I'll add it to the list, and then I'll cross it off the list and be like, I did that too. Because celebrating those little things gives you encouragement to keep going, and motivation to like want to achieve the bigger things. So if there's one thing that people can take away from today's podcast, and I hope there's many, but you know, set a goal in mind. Like what do you want to do in life? Where do you want to be? And maybe you don't know that exactly, because that's a tough question. I couldn't answer that question in school. What do you want to be when you grow up? I remember getting asked that and like being just scared, because I didn't have any kind of a astronaut, fireman. You know what I mean? And as I grew up, I was like, I don't know. I didn't know. I knew that I wanted to help people in some way, shape, or form. I didn't know how. Like I didn't know where that was. I kind of got to this point. So some questions are hard. You don't have to answer that question. But what are you doing? What are you doing over the next year? Where do you want to be at next year? Like honestly, just a question like that kind of makes you think and focus on, oh, wait a second. Going back to that factory, and if you're happy, stay. But if not, I think a lot of people would benefit from going in there and having a plan, because those you get a lot of money there. There's good benefits. Like you can do all the things. But if you don't have a plan, you're spending your money, so you're not reaping the benefit. You're actually like just throwing it away. But if you go in there with a plan, say, hey, I'm gonna work here for 2 years. I'm gonna stack this much money up. I'll make these moves with it. I don't have to work again. And have that mentality, have a plan going in. I think those are the perfect places to spend a couple years grinding in your life, saving up money, and then going and getting and whatever it is that you want to do in life. A lot of people that are unhappy, they're just past their time. They should be doing something else at this point.
Go in there with an exit plan.
100%.
I heard people say that before. Like get a job somewhere, but always have an exit plan. Like, so it's like put some money away. So maybe your exit plan is buy vending machines. So little by little, you're putting $50 a week away, and then all of a sudden you got enough to buy a vending machine. You put it in a store somewhere or wherever, you know, gas station, wherever. And then that vending machine is like your dream. Then you can little by little create 2 vending machines, and then little by little
grow it out.
And you're like a vending machine person.
100%. There's so many businesses. My mind works on different businesses all the time. I'm like, there's so many things that can be done. Like it's just investing the time to do all the things. And when you overload yourself, it's too much. It's good to focus on one thing, but at least focus on where you want to be at next year. Like, where do you want to be at with your friends? Like, do you want to be closer to your friends? Do you feel like you're in the right circle of friends? How's your health? Like, do you want to be healthier? What are you going to do to get healthier? Like, do you have any plan?
Yeah.
Do you know enough to make a plan, or do you want to start learning so that you can make a valid plan to get there?
Yeah.
Do you want to stay here? Or do you want to travel? Do you want to go somewhere? All these things take planning. They don't just really just happen. It takes, and I'll see a lot of people that'll plan out with their friends for that one trip. Be like, well, I'm going to do this. And they're like, I wish I'd do this more often. And it's like, you could just literally plan it out. And like, you could do this as much as you want, honestly, as long as you have the plan and follow the actions to get there.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson once said that find someone that you admire, right?
Yep.
Like, okay, like maybe let's say I want to be a podcaster. Find Joe Rogan. I admire what he's built, right? So like then learn as much as you can about what he's doing. Start implementing it, but tweak yours and make it original. So you can have a podcast like Joe Rogan's. Learn what he did, but then take it and make it your version.
100%.
So that kind of like,
it always has to have your own authentic spin, regardless of even the vending machine business you were talking about. You have to have your spin on everything so that it's truly yours, and do it in the way that you want to do it. But you have to be knowledgeable about that, right? Because you can't just go in and buy a vending machine that doesn't take credit cards and you can't put chips in. What did you buy? It doesn't make no sense. You have to have a little bit of knowledge of what kind of market are you going for, what area are you going to put it in. They probably only have cards there. You gotta have the card reader. Like everything comes into play, but then buy it to your style and to your fit. So
absolutely,
it requires, again, I go back to education. That's been the big change, the big everything in my life, because you can't make the best decision if you don't have all the information possible for it.
Yeah. So like okay, so let's say you started a business, like a lawn care business or whatever, right? But I think that nowadays, with the way social media is, there's a lot of lawn care businesses that don't even have social media. So when you get there, you take the picture of when it's all like, the grass is all, and then you cut it with the lines, and then you take some after pictures. You put that on social media, and you can actually grow your business into like a really legit business just by having a lawnmower and things and using social media. So you can still work at the factory, right? You can still work at Norplast or wherever, let's just say that. And then on the side, get a couple lawnmowers, and then you can actually cut the people's grass at Norplast. Say, hey, I'm starting this lawn business. Because you're around 1,000 people all the time. Say, hey, look, I'm cutting this, and then after work, or it depends on your shift, you go there, cut a couple yards, use social media, and eventually you can grow that business so much that you can leave the factory and go, like just like you said, like
100%.
Anybody can do it.
You can do that with the vending machines. You could do that with 3D printing an accessory for a phone. Like there's just so many different ways that you can do it. The options are out there, 110%. And you have the internet, you have access to so many resources. So it's and I've asked some people to do this, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to touch base with them here soon and see if they follow through. They didn't follow through the last 2 times I talked to them. They're not happy. They don't want to be where they're at. I said, okay, let's make a plan. Where do you want to be? Like, what do you want to do? Like, where do you want to be at? Well, I want to be here, but I need X amount of money. How much do you what are your finances now? Do you have your finances in order? But the work's not being put in to do it. So like, if you want to you can take an hour and research different stuff. What do you want to be, a professional dog walker, man? Like you could honestly, like you could look up and you could like, there's just like,
there's
whatever, there's anything, like anything. I want to drive people around. You got Uber, you got Lyft, like you got, like, I don't want to talk to people who do Uber Eats. Like there's whatever it is that you like to do and you want to make some money off of it, you can do it. If you want to start your own business off of this stuff, you can start a business from your phone. You can do a drop shipping from places. Like you can create t-shirts without even investing any money initially into it. As it's made, X amount comes out, goes to the company, and you get the profits. Like the options are out there for people who want to do it. It's a matter of, again, sitting down and looking at, where do I want to be in a year? Do I want to start a business in this? Do I want to just keep working here? But if you don't make any of the changes, things just get worse and worse. Like the people have a lot of fear of, if I leave this job, it's a good paying job, I might not be able to find another job like this. I promise you there's jobs everywhere. You can always get a job. But if you're at a place where you're unhappy, that affects your mental, it affects your physical health, it affects everything to where your state of being and life is not anywhere near its optimum.
Yeah.
And so like, of course you're sad and you feel bad, and now you're eating bad because you and now it's a cycle, and it just goes down and you get stuck there, when all it takes is just a little change. And I'm gonna say risk, but leaving your job I don't feel is this could be taken the wrong way, but a big risk. There's a lot of jobs out there that you can, my mentality was, and I whenever I left the job, I can get another job. I can, like, no matter what, I can get another job. Even when I left Buckeye, I put my 2 weeks notice. If I fail in real estate, I can go get another job. There's plenty of jobs. That's my mentality. So I never had a fear of that. But I also had, over the years of working in the factory, I put some money away so that when I left, like, I was like, I didn't have to desperately try to get something. I was looking for things and I was trying to make moves.
You were preparing yourself. Because I posted something like that the other day. I said, you can quit your job and get another job, but if you quit your dreams, it's over.
100%. That's 100% accurate.
Because in the Bible says, there's a verse that says, a man without a dream will prevail, or no, will perish. I don't know the scripture. You know, I heard it before. I heard it like on a podcast, and the dude said,
but you have to have something that you're striving towards, like, and that's why I say the goals. That's why I say take a moment to think about your life. A lot of people just are going through the day to day, and I get it. I've been there. So
I've been there too.
It can be a struggle. Sometimes we're just surviving, man. There's different points in our lives, and we're tired, and we don't have the time to think about or have the option to think about those kind of things. But a lot of times we do, and we just don't. And it's like, hey, if you don't make any of the changes, at least think about where you want to go, where you want to be at. You're going to be wherever you're at for a while. Like, and it's just going to repeat itself, and all the bad things that come with it are going to repeat itself. So like, make the change. It's worth it to be do a little bit of hard up front, nervous, whatever it is, but then to so much better instead of being scared. So you stay in the bad the whole time.
Because a lot of times you stay miserable, and then you take that shit home. Like all the miserable, all that stuff that you're feeling at work, you're down and out, and then you go home and you take that down and out to your wife, to your kids, and you're yelling at your kids, and it's all coming because you were mad at some forklift driver he didn't put the rack on the shelf, and you're
something
mad at
trivial. Something trivial.
And then another thing, like the thing that you were saying, like manifesting or having a dream. If you can't just have the dream, sit there and wait for the dream to come knocking on the door. The dream is not going to come knocking on the door if you don't start. Like you said, when I started this podcast, I was not putting my phone on airplane mode, so I would get notifications. The speaker came off.
The little things.
Them little things, right, taught me. And you said that you've had the same thing. One time I recorded a whole podcast, it wasn't even on my phone. You said that one time you recorded a podcast and the sound
all the video was gone. I had the sound, but all the video, because I got a message because I didn't put it in airplane mode, and it stopped my video.
So that's how we learn. That's them steps, just taking off and doing it, and them little tweaks and them little things. That's how we learn 100%. To become the better version of ourselves. We can't just sit here and be like, I'm going to start a podcast, and then the podcast God is going to come knocking at the door and hand you all the equipment.
Here you go. Everything's there. I want to be rich is the big one that I hear all the time. I'm going to be rich, or I want to be rich. How? If you can tell me how, I'm behind you. Let's get it. But if you're just praying that you're going to be rich one day without any kind of a plan, without putting some effort into something, creating something, I don't see you being rich one day. So like, that's the biggest one that I hear all the time, that I'm like, oh, okay, what's your plan? Tell me the plan with it. I'm trying to be rich too. What's happening? How can I help? I want to be rich. Like, let's get rich. So like, I don't think people emphasize just sitting down and actually thinking and creating a path to wherever they want to be, or even think about where they want to be. Sometimes it just starts with that. Like, do you want to be here next year? Or what do you want to achieve by next year? I think you should always at least have one big goal, and then some other goals in between.
I have papers when I got out of prison. I brought a little sack with me, right? and I can actually go in there and show you that I never had on there that I'm going to have a podcast, but I do have on there that I was going to start a restaurant, a cleaning business. I was going to start a gym called Transformation Nation. I was going to start a restaurant. I have all these little things, these little goals and stuff, because I was like starting an app. Because I knew that apps were like growing. When I went to jail, there was no Uber Eats, there was no Uber rides, none of that.
None of that stuff.
When I got out, there's all these new apps. So that the whole time in there, I'm listening to what people are saying in the street. Like, you can get picked up off an app, and I was like, when I get out, I'm gonna create this, I'm gonna create that. I was trying to come up, and then you know what else I did? Before I went to prison, I told my mom, I looked up 100 books every man should read before he dies. And then that list, I gave it to my mom and my 2 sisters, and I said, and it was books like that, like Think and Grow Rich, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Poor Dad Rich, or Rich Dad Poor Dad, all those books that everyone knows about, you know what I mean? Plus a whole bunch of other ones. The first book I read was How to Read a Book.
Oh yeah.
There's like a big book that teaches you how to read a book.
Mortimer Adler, I think. And
it tells you like read it, like to underline, go back,
how you take the main key points and keep them, retain it. It's a good book.
Yeah, and
that's a good one to start with too. If you're gonna read the other books.
Yeah, because I never read books, bro. I was going through life just doing like the.
And we all get caught. We all get caught in. Again, it's like a survival. Like we're just going through motions and surviving, but we're not emphasizing our own futures.
So I was coming up with a plan, because I said, when these 3 years are not going to be wasted gambling, watching football, and bullshitting. So I put a plan together. When I get out, I'm going to be a better human being. And then I didn't even know that I was going to get into that leadership role. And I was going to, these guys, there's one guy that picked me to be the leader of that unit. And then I became the leader of the yard. I didn't know all that was going to come into there. But by becoming the man that I was becoming, they seen something in me and they made me the leader. It wasn't that I ever I never rose my hand and said, hey, I want to be no, I was the guy that was like, hell no, I don't want to be the leader of nobody. I just want to do my time and get out of here. I wanted to avoid all that shit. And they told me that I was more prepared than all these other guys. So I had to, because I knew English and Spanish. Just like, I was kind of like you. So I could translate for the guys that needed, they would come to me and say, hey, hola, Cere, que hola, necesito que tú vayas para allá y le diga tú sabes.
Sí, ya todo cambia, sí.
They'd be like, yo necesito que tú le digas al group leader que me quiero mover de cámara.
Sí,
so then
ayudarle en esas cosas.
They didn't even know English, but I could understand what they were. I knew their Cuban lingo, and I know exactly what you want. I can go to the guards and be like, hey man, he's having trouble with his bunkie. Could he move to A unit? We got an empty spot over there. And then little by little, they knew. I used to do that before I was a leader. Before they would just say, hey Yogi, come here, do this for me, and I would go talk to the counselors, the guards. And then little by little, they said, well, you're the one that we're going to pick because you've already been helping us for so long. So I think that all of us need to help people and need to grow or come up with a plan. Like you said, I came up with a plan when I was in jail to become who I was. But when I got out, I started my cleaning business. I was so focused on that.
Well, everything evolves too, right? So that list where it starts out is a general, where am I going? These are options. But if you don't put those under, those aren't even options. And then sometimes that'll narrow down into one thing. And it's like, okay, and you got to redo your goals every once in a while. So it's not like I wrote all these goals, I got to hit. No. Like, all right, what are your goals now? Okay. And that it's okay to change. Like it's like I said, I'm an advocate for change.
Of course.
And some people get scared because they're like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I don't know how I feel. Like, it's okay. What's your new goal? What are you trying to do?
Yeah, because like you can have that one goal, like start a cleaning business. Maybe that's not your passion, but starting that cleaning business is going to bring you the revenue to actually have this podcast. So like cleaning toilets is not my passion, but something like this, I feel like it's more of my passion. Conversating with you. So, but my cleaning the toilets is going to give me the money
so I can be able to do this. 100%.
So I can actually do my passion. So a lot of people, they're like, they don't want to start something because they're like, yeah, but I don't think cutting grass is really my passion. You know what I mean? But cutting grass can get you to their passion. That's why people get confused. What do you think about that?
Man, I've worked everywhere, anything, done whatever to make the money to do the things that I need to do. So like whatever it is, as long as you know what your final outcome, where you're headed, I'm like, get it wherever you can to get there. So for me, anything.
But so when you were young though, before you had like, when people say, what do you want to be when you grow up? You didn't know, right?
Not even a little bit.
But all you had to do was pick one.
Yeah.
Like all you had to say was like, okay, I just want to work at the zoo.
I've worked in restaurants. I've worked construction. I've worked in technical support. I've done IT type work and construction. I've done all realms of stuff.
Podcasting.
Because I don't know, because I didn't know. I was like, okay, and I was okay with, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that.
You're trying to figure
this isn't my thing. I'll go do that. Like I was okay with that. But unless you try it, you don't know. So I was always okay with. Well, I don't know what I want to do ultimately, but right now I want to do this, and let's see where it leads.
Yeah.
So
and it led to something beautiful.
Yeah. There was some ups and downs in there, but at the end of that run, it led to something phenomenal.
Yeah. I look at your life, man, and I know that maybe it's not perfect or anything, or you want more, everything, but I think that you're doing a great job. You inspire a lot of people just by being you. I know that you don't post as much stuff as me or a lot of people, but your posts are like, when you post something, even like those little things, they're inspiring, bro. Every little thing, like that you like when you go on that stage and you do that that comedy show, you won that thing, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That's inspiring, bro. One day I was at a comedy show and I told my wife, one day I'm gonna be on that stage, and I don't know how, but I said that because I think that one day I am gonna be on that stage, and I don't know how, but like I see you, and I'm like, there it is.
Yeah.
That's like that. I was like, I know it's possible now.
100%. Any of us can do it. Like any of us can do it. And I didn't expect myself. That was an unexpected adventure that I got into. And so like life can throw curveballs at you and you adapt and go at it. But like that was fun. It was something else.
You didn't even know that you were gonna do that one day.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. No, I appreciate the kind words. We all have our own struggles. We're all like on this earth, getting through it and trying to do whatever it is that we like to do. For me, it's trying to help people every day and keep going on and better myself, right? Because if I better myself, I can help people even better. So like, it's a win-win type deal. But we're all kind of just getting through this earth with our own set of problems, our own issues going on. And so like, nobody's life is perfect, because I know a lot of people will see social media or see their info and they're like, oh, everything's okay over there. All of us. I don't care who you are. We're going through our own struggles. So, respect it both ways. Don't think that anybody else is perfect. Understand that person's going through the struggles. Understand that you're going through the struggle. And we all have our own struggles that somewhere in the world, somebody else is having something similar. Somebody's definitely having something worse. But all that being said, like, be okay with yourself going through some struggles. Like, give yourself some leniency, because we're all kind of going through it. So like, and try to do better. That's it. That's all you can do.
A lot of people think that, like, or not, I don't even know, but like, sometimes I think that people think that I'm trying to be like better than, or I'm not. I don't have nothing, bro. I live. My business is.
Don't even sweat that stuff.
It's week to week.
And that might be in your own head.
That's in my own head.
Because I've had those thoughts too. I gotta let them go.
I have so many people that show me love, so I don't know why I even have that.
Because we're all human and we all have self-doubts, man. And that's normal. Look, I have self-doubts. Like, we all have self-doubts. I've learned to just drop them. Like, it does no good. And most of the times, it's not even accurate. It's just something you made up yourself.
And that's why I corrected myself and I said, I think.
No, that was a great catch,
because I don't know.
Yeah, but again, we're all going through our own struggles, and as easy as I say, hey, just discard it, sometimes we can't, and and we work on that. That's all we can do is try to make it a little bit better.
Yeah. And then have you ever had problems like that where like your mind is telling you like to not do things, but I don't know, okay, so I work out every day at 4:30, but when I wake up, bro, my mind tells me go back to sleep, and I have to fight it, bro. It's like, do you believe that you can like your body, you can control it even when your mind's telling you to go to sleep?
There's certain disciplines, 100%, but then there's also things outside of anyone's control. You know what I mean? So to go back to the mental thing, I have mental off days. Everyone thinks I'm very social and out and all the time, but they don't understand that I need to like recharge. Like, I hide from the world sometimes, and I just want like nothing because I just need to recharge. And then I go back out and I'll do it again. But there are moments that can get overwhelming. Also, I'm the empath, and so like taking in a lot of feelings all the time can mess with my head. And I need some time to just reflect on what am I feeling, how am I right now. So some of those things can be overwhelming, and sometimes, like I said, give yourself some grace. Like there's gonna be off days. The working out thing, like if you're in that routine, stick with the routine, fight through it. That's a little bit different. Those are healthy habits that you should stick in it and do. But give yourself some grace when you're at a point where you're like, today I'm not gonna do as much as I normally. I need time for me. Me time is important, and taking care of yourself is important. That mental controls everything. And we all have off days, some more than others, and everyone's different on that.
Yeah, the gym thing is the best, because when I do get up and then I go to the gym, it's like nothing better. That's where I can, even though I film myself, I still feel like it's my alone time, my relaxation.
100%.
Like, I don't care. Like, I always think of a message to send out there. So like, let's say if I just think about, actions speak louder than words. And I look up a bunch of videos on TikTok about actions speak louder than words. And that's kind of what my focus in. So I make like 4 or 5 videos, and I don't make a video every set. So let's say I do chest, I just film one set, and then the rest I do without the filming. When I go to my new machine, I do a couple sets, and then I do like the third one, I film it. And that's it. It's not even that bad.
My whole thing is I'm not happy in the morning. I just woke up. I drive to the gym. I'm not happy, but like I'm here, whatever. I'm working out, okay. And then I start like now this feels great. Oh, I'm good. And like the rest of the day is like a coast, because like the whole first half I don't even like what I'm doing. I know myself, which is why I had to get a trainer, because I can't go and make myself work out. Now if I'm responsible to somebody, I'm not gonna make that guy waste his time. I better be there. So I'm there, I'm like, okay, let's go. What am I doing? And then like halfway through I'm like, all right, hold on. Or sometimes at the beginning he'll give me, or you know what I mean, but like at some point I'll be like, oh, this is great. But by the end of it, every time, I feel great. I feel accomplished. I'm like, this is phenomenal. I walk out, I'm so glad I woke up and did this. This has helped me so much.
Me too.
And I start my day. So like that whole beginning phase is kind of forcing yourself to go through it, because you know the benefits of it.
And now it's like so routine that, like, let's say I just sleep in and I missed the alarm. Dude, I'll be so mad, like, damn, I didn't go to work out. Because like now, I don't have them thoughts anymore, like every day,
But the habit is formed now.
Yeah, now it's like every once in a while I don't feel like getting up. Yeah. Now it's more like it's so ingrained in me that I get mad if I don't go.
You built that habit up. That's a good thing. That's a positive habit.
I built that habit up. Okay, so I always ask people like role models. Who inspires you? Who's been your role models throughout life? I always think that we should, even if you didn't have none, and younger, older, whatever, just give me some people that inspire you, role models that created the Valdy we have today.
Yeah, 100%. I'd probably say Carlos is my biggest one, man.
Okay. Carlos who? My uncle?
Yep. Okay. He came out and made a change, man, and worked hard and like had a lot of stuff. Like I seen him build. I was like, man, you're never too old, man. I was like, yeah, he old, man. I was a young kid, you know what I mean? And I seen him doing all these things. I'm like, dude, he's done all this in this time, and that work ethic, being a man of your word and doing your thing, it inspired me and taught me a lot. That's my closest one that I saw there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then outside of there, we'll talk on the outside. We'll talk. There's people like Gary Vaynerchuk. These are the people that I look at what they've built, what they've done, and it inspires me. Anybody can kind of do this stuff. And I'm sure there's a lot of other ones in there sprinkled in between. But if I had to give my two for my close one, definitely Carlos. For the on the bigger scale, I'm gonna say Gary V.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Those are two. My uncle Carlos, man. That's awesome, because he inspired me, bro. Like he came out, he bought all them houses, he was doing all this, he was doing all that.
Doing good, man. He was doing so good.
But the thing that hurts me so bad is like, man, he passed away before anything. Like he could never his dream was never accomplished, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because that's my family, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want that to happen to my tias, to my tios.
100%.
I want people to be more healthier. Think about it. Like, think about what we're putting inside. Think about exercise. Think about this, because he died really young.
Yep.
He wasn't.
100%. And it was very unexpected.
Just from one moment to the next.
Exactly. But life goes on. I'm a big believer. Everything happens for a reason. Even if you don't like what happened, it was for a reason. And the memory's always there. And the way we live our lives in respect to what he did for us is amazing. The love is still there, man. So,
and he created this right here.
Everything. The love is still there for how he helped shape me and my family. Yeah, for sure.
And what's crazy is, like, a big part of what we're doing right now, it trickles down to him.
100%.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I told you, everything affects everything.
So his legacy is still going on through us.
Oh yeah.
Like, little by little, even though he passed away, even his kids and his grandkids and people like us and like
everybody,
it's gonna keep going. His legacy is gonna, and his name, because his name goes on. His grandson has his name.
Definitely the role model right there.
Yeah, he's a good dude. All right, so biggest dreams and goals for your life. I believe that we manifest things as we speak them out into existence. Maybe it won't happen, maybe it will.
Yeah.
But if we put it out there, somehow the universe listens. Maybe someone that's would like to invest in you and your dreams. Yeah. So, like, for your realty business or for your life, what is your biggest dreams and goals?
I'm never too focused on like business or money, but obviously I want to continue to grow my business. That's my little community right there, and I got a lot of love for it. So continue to grow that. But how else can I make an impact in the community? Yeah. That's my biggest one. So having a bigger impact on the community, having some other programs in place that can help the community and the youth. Those are some of my bigger goals there.
Yeah, I remember you doing like a festival or something on the street.
The block party, the positive energy party. That was just a good thing. We had so many kids came through there. We had the bouncy houses. We had a bull, riding bull. We had ice cream. We had face painting, a bunch of stuff for kids. But then we had a bunch of vendors. We had food. We had everything for adults there too.
Yeah, so stuff like that is something that those are like some of your goals, is to bring stuff like that.
But on a larger scale. So because I have done some of those things, but I want to do something like that that's ingrained and stays stapled in the system and helps create a change and help. So that it's a bigger undertaking, a bigger project, and that I'm certain I can achieve. It's just a lot that goes into it to make that possible. So that's it. But one day I'm gonna get there, and you'll. The vision that I have in my head will be out in the world. Yeah, so.
I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely,
I appreciate you so much, man. Because like, I'm really proud of you. From when I first got out, I started following you, and I seen that you had a podcast. Started following you, and you were working at Buckeye, and you were doing your podcast. You really didn't know what you wanted in life, but you were trying to learn. And I noticed that. I can see that, bro. I can see that you were still trying to figure out who you were gonna become for the future. And now, Valdy, I see a great man in you, bro.
Thank you, dude.
I swear to God, I see a great man in you. You're a great leader. You're a person of this community. I'm really proud of the person you are. And the only reason why I didn't have you on that podcast sooner is because I've always been waiting for you to put me on your podcast. Because I love you. I love you. I love your podcast, Frank, like Francisco. Like I just seen him last night. We had a great talk. Like, I'm really proud of all you guys and everything you guys do for the city, and I want to be more like you guys, and that's why I'm doing the things I'm doing, because you guys are like the light up here, the people that I was looking at, and I always wanted to be like somebody like that. I didn't want nobody to think that I'm the guy that just went to prison and that's it. I wanted to, so then I started learning, I started looking at you, I started looking at Francisco, I started looking at Jose Rosales, and people in the city, like people that are up here, and I said, okay, I want to be like these guys. What is it going to take to get up there? So then I've been trying to work to get up there, because I feel like, I mean, even though you guys see me as equal. I still see you guys as men of the community, and I'm proud of you guys, all you guys, every single person that I've ever had on this podcast. You guys mean the world to me, man, and that's why I strive to be better every single day, because I want to be a person of the community. I want people to know that Big Yogi'z Garage and Yogi, it's not just for me, it's not for fame, it's not for like likes, it's not. I'm trying to teach people how to be either healthy, more fitter, mentally better. And I want to teach people, whatever guest sits down there, I want to try to get them to help me teach them something about life. So I appreciate you so much, man.
Thank you. But before this ends, I just have to say, man, we're not up here. We're all on the same level. And I know Francisco, Jose, I know they think the same way. Like we're not above nobody, dude. That's one of the things that I love about all of us. And you're on that same level, like. Anybody who's trying to help anybody, however we can help, let's make it happen. And you're already there. So you're striving to be better, so are we. We're all on that same journey together, and I just want you to know that, man. But I appreciate you having me on the podcast. Like I said, it was long overdue, and thank you for the kind words. I'm humbled. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you guys. And the only reason why I said that is because when I was getting out of prison, I was trying to find the guiding light. I was trying to find the guiding light.
I get it, but I gotta humble myself and gotta humble everyone. Like we all right here, man. We're all together, man, for sure.
We're gonna do.
But we'll keep on moving up together. That we'll always strive to do a little bit better, man.
Yeah, we're gonna do big things in this city. I know 100%, we are.
100%.
All right, so thank you guys so much for watching the podcast this week. We appreciate you so much. Valdy's a realtor. Tell them where you're a realtor at.
Yeah. Valdy Perez with Key Realty. If anybody needs any info on any houses, I'll give out my number right here, 419-654-0871. I work with first-time home buyers. I work with investors. I work with anybody. If you're trying to get a little bit more information on the process, if you're hesitant on it, you're losing money, and I can show you the numbers and explain to you why. It's the #1 way to build wealth in the United States, and I'd love to help be a part of that. So please, please, please reach out.
Yep. Thank you guys so much for watching this week. We'll see you next week. Make sure you subscribe on the channel, like, share, comment, all that. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Let's go.
Love it.